Mayday! Come in! If anyone can hear me, my starship has been pulled into the anomaly. I find myself in a strange new world. It is a world with no sun, no stars. It is a world of anime. Comics. Here we go! Gaming. Movie. This world is the Rogue Planets. With your host, the Fat Mantis HD.
Hello and welcome to Rogue Planet. I am your host, the Fat Mantis HD. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope everybody in chat is having a lovely and amazing Wednesday, right? It's the day before St. Patrick's Day. That's right. That's one of my holidays. As a matter of fact, tomorrow on Twitch, the Fat Mantis himself is going to be doing a 12-hour stream. That's 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. You know, I'm going to be doing all sorts of Irish stuff, which is clearly euphemism for something. So I hope to see you guys all there. Oh, look at everyone wants to know if tonight's guest drinks, which is funny. I doubt you even know who this person is or who my surprise guest is. You've definitely heard her show. Tonight we are talking about the Miss Marvel trailer and all things pertaining to Miss Marvel in the MCU and coming about it all. But tonight's guest I have on the mic for your entertainment is none other than Gray Winthrop, the host and creator of the Grim Inquiries podcast. Hello, Grim.
Hi there, Mantis. How you doing?
How are you tonight?
I'm good. Very good.
Okay. Awesome. Yo, everyone in the chat wants to know if you're a drinker.
Occasionally, but I don't think I'll be drinking for St. Patty's Day because I'm not really doing anything special.
Okay. Are you Irish?
We'll see.
Are you Irish?
I'm probably 10% Irish according to the DNA test.
Oh, those DNA tests say all sorts of things.
Yeah, right.
I think they make it up at this point, but I don't know because they change. You know, they tweak it every other month. They're like, here's an update. Suddenly you're not Irish anymore.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, what's the update?
So yeah, the update says like, okay, so I think at one point I was a lot of Irish and no Scottish, and now I'm like 20% Scottish and maybe 10% Irish.
And like, oops, we forgot, we messed up. They're pretty much the same thing. But anyway, you know, I guess getting into genetics is not the important part about this. What we want to talk about tonight is Miss Marvel. Did you see the new trailer?
Yes, I did. I saw it right after it popped up.
Okay, and what were your thoughts?
My first thought, I don't want to be a hater, but my first thought was that it looks like something you would see on the Disney Channel, not Disney Plus.
Oh,
but the Disney Channel.
Okay, so I thought you were gonna go a different direction. I thought you were gonna. This is the new insult for superhero genre, saying that it looks like it's from CW.
I think that this, because I remember there's Naomi, which is somewhat similar to the premise for Miss Marvel, but it came out afterwards, so I guess it's kind of a ripoff of Miss Marvel if you want to think of it that way. But Naomi looked cheap. I mean,
they're all cheap. They're all cheap. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I am an Arrow fan, an Arrow addict. Maybe not addict, but I enjoyed the first couple of seasons of that. I was really impressed, particularly with the first and second seasons. I remember just being blown away.
Yeah,
feeling blown away. So it's not. So you wouldn't say it's CW. You'd say it's Disney Channel. Like we're talking like Phil of the Future or something.
Right. Now, I do think that it's obvious that they've spent money on special effects for this, so I don't want to say that it just looks like amateurish. Because that's the CW, is that they don't, or they can't afford to spend much on special effects. They don't try too hard, you know. With this, the special effects are there, but it looks like it's definitely geared towards tweeners. You know, not even teenagers, but tweeners.
Right. So I was going to compare it to like Babysitter's Club with superpowers.
Yeah, right.
And so it's weird because she's supposed to be in high school. And I mean, I guess they cast a real high school student. Mm-hmm. Still a little older than your average, who the age that she's playing. But I just, you know how like America, I think we're used to seeing 25-year-olds playing 16-year-olds.
Right.
I thought they would at least do that type of high school.
Yeah, I had I had a feeling that they were gonna go younger because I feel like Kamala, she is very much like a young character, you know. There are young characters in the Marvel and DC universe who act older than they are. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, even somebody like Damian Wayne, who's supposed to be a kid, over the years has gotten like kind of like they aged him up like rapidly. There's actually
right because they always want to age people up to an age where they can do fun stuff, aka sex.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's a thing in soap operas called Soras syndrome. And that means soap opera rapid aging syndrome.
Oh god.
Right? So when they Soras a character, it means like, you know, like there was an infamous thing where Erica Kane on All My Children, her daughter ran off screen, right? Little like 10-year-old kid.
Okay.
And then the next day, her kid Bianca walks out and she's a teenager. Like, literally from one day to the next.
And that's so funny because they do the opposite for the actual like adults. They keep them. They try to pause time on them. Right. Because in a soap opera, one scene could go on for an entire month.
Yeah.
They could keep cutting away from two people having the same conversation for like weeks.
Exactly.
It's so weird. But yeah, comic books does it as well. I can't believe they have a name for that soap opera thing.
Yeah. It's well known. Yeah.
Okay, but right now they want to have kid fun. Here's my theory about what's going on with Feige. I think that he's so not power hungry. I think he's smart. He wants to angle every edge of entertainment, so that now his superheroes, his MCU superheroes, will be in every genre and age group.
Yes.
So someone can just walk down and piecemeal and be like, I like horror. Let me pick up Doctor Strange. I like teen stuff. Let me get Spider-Man. I like tween stuff. Let me get Miss Marvel.
Right.
And you can have it. So he's trying to corner everything, right? And in his world domination scheme, he's decided to do a skewing very young, Miss Marvel, and it's very evident in the trailer. You are right, very Disney Channel. Personally, I think the MCU is the fan base is primarily like 30-year-old dudes. Not to say that there won't be young people to watch this, but right. I'm going to give it a shot. I pretty much have to review it because it's my job. But the thing is, I'm not necessarily looking forward to it. It doesn't seem like something I would watch if I didn't have to review it.
Right.
To be on YouTube,
Yeah, I have to say, after Hawkeye, which I was kind of shocked at how young it skewed. I know that Kate Bishop is sort of the primary character, but it felt very much like it was for little kids.
Yes, the entertainment value, the things like...
Right.
It was crime, but it wasn't really crime. It was comical crime, right? Like guys in tracksuits stealing valuable treasure. It
was very odd, a very odd choice. Hawkeye is a mature character. I think he's older than most of the other Avengers. Yeah. And I was looking forward to a show about him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They did not give us that. You
know?
And
I think the only thing I liked about the Hawkeye series, I'm a huge hater. I think you know this. I think we were at each other's, not throats, but we didn't agree on my hyper criticism of it. The only thing I liked of it was Kate Bishop, and everything else was just comical or idiotic or just very not comic booky. They never give fanboy modeling school. Steve's always joking around that he says you want Hawkeye to wear a tiara. It's not a freaking tiara. It's his cowl. I just can't stand that he doesn't have a cowl.
Yeah. So I think we disagreed at first because, first off, I was like, give it a chance. You were like, no, it's gonna suck, right? Would you say that was fair before the show came out?
Yes, my spidey sense, and here's what I'm saying. Everyone's like, I would like to point out that all year round, my spidey sense has been on the dollar. It's been on, if that's a saying. But I'm saying every time I see something, I can tell if it's going to be middle of the line, going to be awesome, or going to be garbage. And so my spidey sense from the trailers was like, this is garbage.
So yeah, you said it was garbage. I was like, give it a chance, give it a chance. And then I started watching it before you, and I was like, oh, I am not a fan of Kate Bishop. And then you watched it, and you were like, Kate Bishop's not that bad. I was like, she's charming.
This woman is charming.
Yeah, that's so funny that we kind of like switch positions there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could go, right, that is funny. I think we both landed on that we didn't like it, and I think a lot of my friends didn't like it. Particularly, we didn't like the finale, but I didn't like it going along the way. And I just feel like, they really butchered one of my favorite comic book characters. And so for Carney, who's known for his agility, they have the audacity. This just shows like how night and day the characters are. They have the audacity to have him jump and fall into a Christmas tree and get stuck for half an episode in the Christmas tree because he doesn't know how to get down.
Oh,
and I'm saying comic book him would have just done a bunch of flips, cartwheels and stuff and been down. And that just shows how out of it they are.
It was pretty awful. The Tracksuit Mafia wasn't a worthy. I mean, that's the kind of goofy thing that maybe you do for like half an episode. Like, oh, here's a group of bumbling criminals, and they're bothering Hawkeye and Kate, and you just have it for maybe half the episode, and then you go on to the serious stuff.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
That was the whole show, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's not get stuck on Hawkeye because we're supposed to be talking about Miss Marvel. There's a lot to talk about Miss Marvel. But I feel like you're right. It's going young. It looks like little kids are gonna like this show, right? I think the big thing. There are a couple big things people are talking about. In the chat, Logan says it looks too political. Let's get into that real quick. Thank you, Logan, for sharing that. He says it looks too political, and I think what I'm guessing he is referring to is there seems to be a lot of scenes with mosques. There looks like there's a subplot where Muslims are being terrorized either by the government or by terrorists themselves. Like the good Muslims are being caught in the middle of this war, and she's gonna have to save her mosque people.
Right.
Too political in this day and age?
I don't think that. Here's the thing. It is topical. It is part of the world that Muslim people in the United States have issues with, being branded terrorists, with hate crimes against them. That is something that I would say more than other groups, this small group has to deal with, So it's not something I'm going to be, let's see. I'm going to give it a chance. I mean, if the whole show is about that, then it's like, why is the superhero show about that? But if it's, if it's just part of, like, for instance, the background of her mosque, and then, she has to help out her family and friends who go to the mosque, then it is part of her life, I guess. I don't see that that's a major issue for me. I mean, here's the thing. There are, Pakistani Muslim teenage girls, I'm sure, who live in Jersey City. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that they have to deal with bomb threats at their mosques, for instance.
Right.
They have to deal with people thinking that they are terrorists. They have to deal with people either telling them that they should be wearing hijab or telling them they should not be wearing hijab. So if they put those sort of things in the show, I don't think it's political. I just think that it's part of trying to represent that group of people. I don't see it as
so. Here's what I think is the misfire. So I agree with you that it is part of the life when you're telling the story of a young Muslim girl from who's an immigrant, or at least family or immigrants from Jersey City. Yeah, there probably is gonna it would be smart to have the story about the mosque and discrimination and what ICE does, because you see, I don't know if you notice the government guys, their names are nice,
right?
And it's a parody of ICE.
Yeah,
and they're going to be harassing them and stuff like that. But the thing is that how can Feige do this? And maybe this is where he is lost. How is he making it Babysitter's Club with superpowers, however, with such a heavy storyline, side story?
I mean, I guess we'll see. Like, for instance, Jane the Virgin on the CW. It's a remake of a telenovela.
Mm-hmm.
It dealt with immigration issues. And that was
not for kids, though. It was comedic,
right,
but it was not for kids.
Right. I mean, but I'm saying that was a comedic soap opera that dealt with serious issues such as immigration issues for her family members, because Jane the Virgin was I believe she was Mexican, but she was South American, in the United States. So anyway, I do understand where you're coming from, like if it's a young skewing show. But, I mean, this stuff happens to teenagers, too. They have to deal with it, too. I don't know what to think so far. I guess we're going to have to see how it goes,
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I mean, it's it is crazy. It is a zany situation. But there is another controversy, not even controversy, but a talking point. As you know, nowadays people scrub trailers for every little thing to have a crazy talking point. Mm-hmm. And if you're a real psycho, probably a Twitter user, you usually find the stupidest thing to bitch about, right? Like in the Batman, right? There was somebody who had the audacity to be like, it's wrong that Batman takes the hate crimes against Asian so lightly because Batman saves an Asian man in the beginning of the movie. I'm serious. Some journalist said this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're just looking. Yeah, I had my complaints about the Batman, but you're really looking for trouble right now.
Right. And this way. I mean, Asian people exist in Gotham. And it was a black kid who was the main character in the gang in the scene.
Yeah.
Are they saying something about black kids? No. They might have been thinking about Asian crime, crime against Asians when they made that thing. But it's just possible too that this particular actor did well in the audition. And they were just looking for some dude who looked like a regular dude to walk off because when I saw that scene, I wasn't thinking about the fact that he was Asian.
I didn't think about that at all. I said, yay, Batman's saving that poor man from those gangbangers.
Right,
and it didn't even occur to me that it's some sort of mirror of America. And it could have been a mirror of America. They might have, when they were finally filming it, because that's a relatively newer thing, that the Asian hate the rise of Asian hate. They could have been like, why don't we cast him as Asian to reflect what's going on in our real world, And right. I don't see anything at all is wrong with that. We want our movies to be reflections of us, right? Of our world.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel introducing this nice situation, introducing terrorists. Who's a terrorist? I don't really follow a comic book. I kind of broad strokes follow a comic book, but I couldn't read it. It just was a drag to me. I believe Red Dagger,
mm-hmm.
her villain is a hero back in Pakistan.
Right.
But he's a villain in America,
mm-hmm.
as they reflect on what is a hero, what is a villain. It's different depending on where you are standing. Right?
Yeah.
But the other thing that I want to talk about, and this is less serious, it's a shame we had to start so seriously because we're going to get very lighthearted right now. They changed the powers.
Yeah. So I understand why they did it. There's several things going on. First of all, her original power set linked her to the Inhumans. And I think it's very clear now that the Inhumans did not do well. They don't want to link to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which also had Inhumans.
You're telling me they don't want to bring in that chick with that giant red nasty wig?
That poor actress.
I saw she looked like she could be pretty, but I couldn't tell if that giant freaking wig.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't know if you saw the Inhumans, but they cut off all her hair in the first episode.
Oh, okay. I didn't make it very far. It starts off with the lizard dude in the swamp, and it was bad special effects, and it was bad lines.
Right.
When he's in the jungle and he looks up at the moon, he's talking nonsense, and he goes under, and I'm like, what am I watching right now?
So you know how that bad dude from Game of Thrones?
Yeah. I know he plays Maxie, right? He's the brother of Blackwater.
So he's the bad guy in the Inhumans, and he kidnaps Medusa and cuts off all her hair in the first episode, which is obviously because their special effects budget was so low that they couldn't give her a decent looking hair in the first place. And then they cut it all off immediately.
Oh, it's like a low budget,
the budget even more.
Budget Fan 4 has all the characters there, but because they can't afford Human Torch special effects, they make the adventure underwater.
Right.
Okay, so here, this is what we got going on. They've swapped her powers. I'm so pro. This is not even funny. Like I said, I'm not a diehard from the original scene. But I have to say, I hate elasticity as a power.
Right.
I think it's really horrible. It's probably very hard to actually animate.
Right.
Energy tricks they've been doing since the beginning of time.
Now, I have to say, like, for instance, if you look at Marvel's Avengers, I know that game, it has a lot of problems. But I don't think Miss Marvel looked bad in that game. I think her power set looked kind of cool. But I think that because of, Mr. Fantastic and the Fantastic Four are coming soon, relatively soon. They don't want her to have that power set before Mr. Fantastic.
100.
And I don't know how they would, I don't know how they would deal with the special effects for that. Well,
I bet to do it right, you have to have like a movie level budget, and I don't think they're willing to spend that much on Miss Marvel.
Because think about it. The way she uses her power, huge fists, becoming huge, like growing her entire body. Those are kind of things that take a lot of budget. It's like it involves complicated sets. For instance, like if you're making things look huge, you're gonna have to make everything else around it look small.
Right, but also let's say she'd use the telescoping leg ability, like where she stretches up. You're right, they'd have to be prepared to do that, and it's a whole thing. Although I do think she'll have all the powers that are similar, just using the whole Green Lantern. Like she's basically like a Purple Lantern in this.
Right.
Where she's using energy to be like the placeholder in her thing. If this was a video game, it would be the same mechanic. The skin would just be different that the character wears. It'd be energy instead of stretching, but the mechanic would still be the same. Right? And
there's no problem with her having the Green Lantern power set, because that's another company. They don't have to deal with those people. They don't have to deal with worrying about the Green Lantern showing up.
Well, I've got some Miss Marvel education if we want to get into it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one in the chat, if anyone, I'm sorry, I've been ignoring you guys. Shout outs to Lainey, Hannah Banana, Shahid, the Hold Up TV, and everyone else who's in the chat. Thank you so much for stopping in. I'm sorry I've been neglecting you, but one in the chat if you guys are interested in watching me dork out, or we could just continue the conversation. Okay, there's one. So I'm gonna hit you off. So here's the thing. I think they're doing a very clever slide around, and they're keeping it in the Marvel family. What do I mean by this? So originally, Miss Marvel takes on the sidekick name to Captain Marvel, but has no actual connection in terms of power, right? Now it seems that in this thing she has some sort of power band on her arm, right? And so the Marvels have had at least 2 different relationships with powered magical items, or it's really a super alien technology that seems magical. The first one is the original Captain Marvel, Marvel, rest in peace, my man. He was just a normal Kree, and he got all his powers from the Negabands. And the Negabands gave him energy controlling and flying through space powers, and he can't normally do it without the Negabands around him, right? Yeah. And so then later on, because of when the Magni Ultra whatever thing is used, some of that power goes into what's-her-face, goes into Carol Danvers, empowering her. So she is the natural version of that power, right?
Right.
And so then later, he would die and she would take over as Captain Marvel. But then later on in the story, and so there's another character in Marvel, a lesser-known Green Lantern-type character called Quasar.
Right.
What's interesting is the original Quasar was Wendell Vaughn. And so he was the original Quasar, but after his passing, the original Marvel's daughter, Phyla-Vell, becomes Quasar. Now, what's Quasar all about? Once again, magical, should I say super high technical bands, and these gave him or her Green Lantern powers, except it was yellow energy.
Right. The
quantum bands. And I have a feeling that what Feige is doing is he's mixing both the nega bands and the quantum bands into one type of band for her. So he's keeping the lore of the Marvel family intact.
Right.
To give her a workaround to this elasticity problem.
Yeah, and I think that, I know that there are people complaining about it, but she's a relatively, as far as her, creation in, the 2010s, she's a young character.
So,
not just her age, but the age of her creation. She's only existed in the Marvel Universe for maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's not that big a deal to me.
And the truth is a lot of people find it offensive that she's getting a role inside these movies before the X-Men, before Submariner, before some very important big dogs.
Well, here's the thing. Once again, I think that ties back to who the show is being marketed to. The X-Men, they want to take some time off, let it breathe, let the stink of Bryan Singer disappear.
He really does stink. Yeah, he stinks. Yeah, that's right. The Fat Mantis is never going to be able to interview this guy.
Let's
dream.
be real.
All right.
There's more coming out about this guy.
Right.
Right. But anyway, so they're gonna let the X-Men breathe for a bit. They're going to probably in the next 5 years start to introduce the Fantastic Four. Namor is apparently coming in Wakanda Forever.
Right.
So
so Phase 4 ends with the movie Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be out it's probably early 2024, so we're not that far away. And supposedly Reed Richards will make an appearance. Our Reed Richards, the MCU's Reed Richards, will have an appearance in Ant-Man, Quantumania. I'm assuming we're going to see an interdimensional one in Doctor Strange, and that's only a month away or something.
Right. It's going to be very interesting.
So they're there. They're basically here. They're basically here. It's been a long wait, but I'm pretty excited. I got to say, Mr. Fantastic's one of my favorite characters, but it's not because of elasticity. It's because of his brains, man. He's the smartest guy, the smartest guy in the MCU, and that's what I love about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So going back to Miss Marvel, she's a cute, she's 19 in real life, but she does look younger. It's relatable to the tween audience that they're seeking. She's gonna be having crushes on boys. She's gonna have other girls bullying her. This is all marketing towards young girls who they want to buy merch, the costume. They want them to grow up with Ms. Marvel, and by extension, the Marvel Universe. they are looking forward. I think that's not a horrible thing. I just hope that they do it well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they do it well.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So there's another thing about her powers, and so my understanding is I don't think she can access. It's not that like, it's not like the band is the only thing that gives her the powers. Apparently, she's the only one who can use it, because instead of being an Inhuman, they're going to make her, drumroll please, a Jinn. And for those of you who don't know what a Jinn is, it's a genie. As we all know, that has a Middle Eastern, and particularly is, their stories of them are found in the Quran. So they're making it very culturally connected to her rather than being just like an alien. And rumor has it is that the weird, shady people who are coming after her are clandestine. Who was a Marvel comic book of all Marvel comic books to ever appear in anything. It's clandestine to each other.
I think they pulled out that they were looking for something connected to Jinn, and they found clandestine, and they were like, it's so obscure, we don't have any, you know how those brand deals, that's another thing that they have to take into account. Now, as you might know, Universal Studios and Sony, they all have their mitts on Spider-Man and, like, the X-Men as far as marketing them.
Yeah.
In theme parks, in movies, so like, they've dealt with the Fox problem by buying Fox, right? But Universal Studios still has the theme parks.
Do they still have that 3D Spider-Man ride?
Yeah, it's
so dated. It's
so very dated.
Oh,
but they're not letting go of that that contract.
Nor should they.
Right. So on the East Coast, at least, they can't do any of those characters. The X-Men, most of the Avengers, the original Avengers at least, and Spider-Man in theme parks, right? So that kills them. That's why they're building a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disney World right now.
Right.
Because they can't use the other characters that they want to use. So yeah, groups like Clandestine have an appeal because there's no brand deals attached to these obscure characters.
Right. No, like you said, no one else has their grubby paws all over them.
Right.
Like they're not part of the Spider family, so therefore Sony can't touch them.
Yeah. And I remember Clandestine, but mostly for their, like, the character design.
Yeah.
The comics themselves, there was like some big secret with the family. I knew they were Jinn, but it wasn't anything specific that I remember that attracted me to the comic. I only read it because, I believe it was Chris Claremont and Alan Davis, and I was a fan of Excalibur. And so I jumped on it, and it just didn't impress me. So I guess it's like a blank slate for the people who are creating Ms. Marvel right now, for them to play with.
Yeah. I mean, that's well said. I don't think they're going to be able to do them any justice. One, because they probably don't respect that comic and the material in it. Not that it was the greatest comic ever. I do remember picking up some episodes just because when I was younger, I'd read any comic. I gave everything a shot. I basically was a whore. I was a horrible whore. But one, that the comic is hard to respect in the first place, so they're probably not going to give it respect. But also, this is television budget. Yes. So they're not going to give them the crazy. I doubt they're going to give them like the crazy character design or any of that stuff.
Right. I'm guessing that we're not even going to see most of the characters from the comics.
No, I bet they'll be like, because remember the thing about Clandestine is there were hundreds of them.
Right.
They were like in every culture and every type of country, they had like relatives there because they were it went so far back that their great grandfather was a Jinn or was a genie. And actually what's really funny about that is we were literally talking about Ancestry.com at the beginning of this show, and now if I remember someone had told me, they're like, oh, you're Obama's 8th cousin, and I said I am, and they're like hundreds of thousands of people are also his 8th cousin.
Right.
And I did like when you figure out how it works, you're like, oh my god, we had a common ancestor way back, right?
Right.
So that's basically what that story is. So they can be any ethnicity, any color, any shape, any size. They're probably not going to use a lot of special effects on their costumes or their anatomy, because you are right, some of those characters look so amazing, drawn beautifully by Alan Davis. But so there are lesser known products. She's going to be a djinn, powers of swamped, kitty thing. This is what we've all established, right?
Right.
Now, what I want to get into is, so this is going to be her intro, and then we are. And another thing I got to say, actually, before we get into this, I got to say another huge critique. If she's going to be spending most of the show in the low budget costume, it is going to trash this show. I think people are tired. I think people are tired. Like even people who liked that nonsense Hawkeye show were even pissed that they were like, why did you have to wait for the last episode for them to suit up?
Right.
People hate that. People do not like that.
Smallville.
Oh yeah, Smallville. What is it? 10, 11 seasons. My man is wearing a leather jacket.
It was so pathetic,
man. It was pathetic.
So pathetic.
Beyond belief, man.
There was absolutely no reason, and it just frustrated people to no end. It was bizarre. Such a bizarre choice. With this, I think people are going to be grossed out, honestly, by her costume in the beginning. So they'll be happy by the end when she finally gets her real costume. But it's like, it's not a good thing to disgust your audience,
It absolutely does. So, it literally looks like her helmet is made of cardboard.
Right. Because it's supposed to be cosplay. And I understand the story reason for it, but it's gonna look like a mess. It really does.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm worried. I'm seriously worried. I think it's probably not going to be for me, but I will give it a shot. I'll give the first couple episodes a shot. Who am I kidding? I claim I'm going to just give it a couple of episodes, and if I don't like it, I'll turn it off. That's what I said about Hawkeye, and I still watched it all, waiting for the episode that would turn it all around.
I knew too that there was going to be a very special guest in the last episode, so we had to watch it, right?
Right, and then it turned out to be the worst appearance of the Kingpin ever.
I know.
One we'd rather forget.
It was very bizarre. Yeah. I was like, that is a cheap knockoff. I mean, I know it's Vincent D'Onofrio, but the way he's dressed, the way he's acting, this is a sad representation of Kingpin. I'm glad he's back in the Marvel universe, but that was weird.
I am. In my feeling, my theory is that Echo is not going to be really the Echo show. I have a feeling it's going to be an Echo vehicle for bringing Daredevil back. I think she's going to team up with Daredevil in it, and they're going to have their romance, very comic accurate. And it's going to really just be a vehicle. The reason why we have to watch it is Matt Murdock will suit up in this series.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I will be there.
Yeah. And I'm absolutely, and Matt Murdock, even in his small role in No Way Home, man, I was there for it,
Yeah, no, it was great. I love that when he catches the brick. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. A brick is caught, but at this point it seems like everyone, even like dead people, have seen No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, right.
If you haven't seen it, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but anyway, I want us, before we run out of time, we do have to touch about the second part of the story. So there is this trailer that's letting us know about Ms. Marvel, but Ms. Marvel's going to be in another property coming soon, and that's the Marvels.
Right.
Have you heard rumors? Do you know what this is? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it is the sequel to Captain Marvel.
Right.
Brie Larson as Captain Marvel will be in it, but also we're getting Monica Rambeau as Spectrum, and Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, is going to be in it too. Are there any other major?
And confirmed, Valkyrie will have a big role in it.
Oh, okay. I'm not,
And
whatever,
so you know,
whatever.
and you know what you know about that the rumor where that's headed
She's gonna have a romance with somebody because
with
she's
Captain
bisexual?
Marvel.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Here's
it
what
was
I'm saying.
gonna be about-
None of that part is confirmed. Her appearance in it is, but you know, I think everyone's been, you know, screaming for, you know, an LGBT relationship from a major. I would say Captain Marvel having the lesbian affair is more of the major character. I don't think Valkyrie has any really standing, right?
Yeah.
But there have been, you know, screaming for it, chanting for it. When's it gonna come our way? The rumor is this is that movie. And so here's my whole thing. We know what type of people are gonna boycott this movie, right?
Right.
And so we know the neckbeards, we know the haters, we know the counterculture guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now these are guys who already have a problem with Brie Larson. Now here's what I'm saying. Instead of trying to repair, you know, the fans' love of Captain Marvel. Maybe they want to make friends with Brie Larson. Is it possible that Kevin Feige said, well, they're not going to go to this movie anyway, so I might as well make it an all-girl Avengers movie where two women have an affair?
Possible.
Because the neckbeards aren't showing up anyway because of Brie Larson.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Right now, Disney is under fire for... and we're getting political, sorry guys, but Disney is, I'm just talking about the facts. I'm not stating an opinion.
Oh, I'm going to get crazy on this one. Okay.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, Disney is under fire for supporting Florida politicians who voted for the supposed, I'm not passing judgment, supposed don't say gay bill, right? So the people are saying, well, we should boycott Disney. Disney was like, look,
I'm gonna have to say, wait, hold on, real quick. I gotta say, the other day I was having a conversation about the bill, and I was talking to my buddy Hans, and I said, you know, the phrase "don't say no gay" is nowhere in the bill, and he's like, of course, because you can't say the word gay.
There you go.
That's why it's not in there. Anyway, stupid dad joke. Moving on.
Okay, but yeah, so yeah, Disney was their first response to people complaining about this was, we give money to all politicians in Florida.
They probably do.
Yeah.
They are greasing so many palms down there.
Oh, right, because they have interests in real estate. They have interest in lowering their own taxes. They have interest in, They need to be a friend to Florida, basically. Right,
if they want to keep that park going, right?
Yeah, I mean, they get so much benefits that other corporations don't get in Florida. And so, yeah, they need politicians to be on their side. So I don't blame them. Like I said, I'm not trying to be political, but I'm just stating facts. I don't blame them for just being like, yeah, this is what it is. But they are looking for ways to pander to the LGBT community and to others who want more representation in Disney movies and Marvel movies.
Yeah, it's called queer baiting.
In the future. Yeah. And in Star Wars too, because people were kind of mad about that one background couple.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, they over.
If you had blinked, you would have missed it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were characters who had one line in the entire trilogy.
Yeah.
And the fact that people flipped out about it. So they flipped out whether they saw it, or they flipped out if you were in a country where it was removed.
Right.
And people were like, how dare you take that out for Saudi Arabia? I'm like, well, it's not even really LGBT representation in the first place.
Right.
So,
right.
Don't get mad because they're not really taking anything out because it's not anything.
So yeah, I do think that you are onto something in that if indeed Valkyrie and Captain Marvel have a relationship, there are going to be countries where like Russia, like Saudi Arabia, where the movie is straight up banned. They can't cut a major part of the movie probably, so they're just going to have to ban it. So it's possible that they decided they were gonna let this movie take the hit and not mess with their bigger movies. You
So
know?
you don't think that they may have felt the fire? Like I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. I'm not voting either which way on this particular one, but you don't think they felt the fire from Eternals and are going to pull back on this lever before it hits the ground? As we all know, Eternals, they were so proud of themselves. I saw the YouTubers, I saw the people putting up the things, pointing out how often Feige and his team and the actors were constantly being like, it's a new age for representation and diversity. Eternals. Look how diverse we are. And the problem is that it's not a good movie.
Right.
And it crashed and burned. And they were so focused on making, such a diverse thing, they didn't stop and think if they were making a good movie. And so you don't think that because they lost money on that endeavor, they're not going to say, maybe we could pull back a little. Because I already know. It has nothing to do with other franchises before. I already know as soon as somebody says, well, there's Captain Marvel 2 is going to be secretly an all-girl Avengers movie. I already know. You can already imagine what the internet's going to say about it.
Right.
Even if it's the greatest movie ever. Right?
So here's the thing. I don't mind. I mean, first off, I'm going to say, not an all-girls Avengers movie. It's just a Captain Marvel movie with a bunch of other characters. That does not specifically mean Avengers to me. So I'm not worried about that. I don't really care about that. First off, I just want well-written, female-led movies. We've talked about how Black Widow was not a good female-led movie,
Yeah.
So if it's written well, great. If it's not, then what's the point, So I hope it's written well. I do think though that it's possible that they are looking like this is a movie we can sacrifice because it's not gonna vibe with certain audiences anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do also think that there's the people who hate Brie Larson and will boycott any Marvel movie with Brie Larson in it aren't as powerful as they think they are either.
They're not, because they couldn't. The haters even did blatant lies against Brie Larson. They couldn't stop it from reaching $1 billion.
Right.
People just ignored them. So how powerful are they? How powerful are these trolls on YouTube?
Right.
Not very. If they can't really sway it one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Star Wars definitely took financial hits, but that's only after. It wasn't from the YouTubers. It was just them making bad movies. Like they made Force Awakens, and then they made The Last Jedi, and then people were like, "I don't like where this franchise is going," so less went to Skywalker.
Right.
And so that I wouldn't even say the trolls who are anti-SJW were able to move that tanker.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm just saying. I think that. But what about years of it? Years of it, Bill. Years of hating Brie Larson. Like the other day, I saw her get. They tried to cancel. I don't know if someone's officially canceled just because people bitch about them. But people were bitching about Brie Larson for buying an NFT. Did you hear about this?
I did not hear about this.
She bought an NFT and bragged about it on Twitter, and then it got all these people attacking her in the chat, in the comments, going on. And what they're saying is, it's a scam, it's money. They attacked her from every angle. They're like, how dare you spend all this stupid money on nothing? There are starving children in the world. Mm-hmm. And other people are like, the NFT creators are destroying real artists. How could you condone this?
Right.
And I still couldn't understand. I'm like, why are you bitching that she spent her money on whatever she wants?
Well, if you go to Twitter and you go to any YouTuber, or not Twitter, but any celebrity who has NFTs, you will see a ton of people hating on them because NFTs are extremely unpopular with most people right now because it's seen as a scam. It's seen as a waste.
I mean, it is. But I don't care.
And
I don't care if someone buys one.
Right. A lot of artists are being uncredited, and their art is being stolen by NFT makers.
Oh.
So, yeah, so that's another reason why it's super unpopular right now. She really should have read the room before doing that. I mean, I think also, like for instance, I've seen her YouTube channel, and I know that she.
If you see her YouTube channel, you can tell she does not know how to read a room.
Right. But Brie Larson also, like, I think recently she had a video about how she's composting. Right? So
right.
She's gardening and composting.
The fad of the week, basically, is what she's into.
Yeah. She should know that NFTs are considered a big waste of energy. It's like, not green. So if you're trying to be a, green individual, buying NFTs is not the way to go. But I think, though, I have to say, most of these celebrities who are shilling for NFTs have been given the NFTs. I honestly don't think these people are buying them. They're just being gifted the NFTs. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll
yeah, and they want that name. They're like, Tom Cruise has an NFT. Isn't that cool, kids?
Right.
Don't you want one?
Gwyneth Paltrow, she's not well liked either anymore because of her goop stuff. But yeah, she was shilling for the Bored Ape.
Right.
The Bored Ape NFTs or whatever.
Right. Yo, can I get personal about Brie Larson real quick?
Sure, why not? Why not?
So I'm going to actually, even though I didn't like her as Captain Marvel, I'm going to vote that I love her. And I'll tell you why. Okay. She played an amazing Envy Adams. Greatest supervillain of all time from, what's his face? Scott Pilgrim vs. World.
I did love her as Envy
Adams. Envy Adams was perfect.
Yeah.
And then, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, she looked great in that movie. She was funny, and she sang really well.
Yes. Yeah. And so she was living that part, lived it up. And I love that. I really like, even though it's super depressing, I can only see it once every couple of years. Room was amazing.
Right.
So I do think that she's capable of good work. I think she does great work. Here's the thing about her, though. And here's why she bought the NFT and why she was foolish enough to put it on Twitter to be like, look, guys, didn't I do good? This poor girl, everything she does screams of I know this is normal actors and artists in general. I know I'm a failed artist. Nobody needs affirmations that people like them more than an artist. An actor, a musician, that's why you do what you do. A lot of you are going to be shaking your heads. You're like, no, man, there's no way. Absolutely, that's what you're in it for. You need to say, love me. Look what I can do. Aren't I special? She does it worse than anyone. She's a simp for anybody's love. And she's screaming, love me. Look how cool I'm in a superhero movie. I do car commercials. I have a YouTube channel. I compost. I got an NFT, please love me. And that's what she's screaming, the poor girl. And she doesn't realize that the internet will never love her as long as she asks to be loved.
Yeah.
That's Mantis' psychological evaluation on
her. Well, I think, I don't know Brie Larson at all, but I think that sounds like it may be true. And, I hope it comes back soon. The show Barry is, I think, the most honest depiction of actors.
Absolutely. You're right. And all those characters are narcissists who are doing what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly. So when you started talking, I was thinking, yeah, she is basically a Barry character.
She's a Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. She's in his acting class. She's one of those people.
Yeah.
I'll say this, that Brie, if you are listening, sorry you don't feel loved, but there is someone who will love you. You give me a call. Give me a call.
There you go. Awesome.
Are you going to go see Marvels?
Of course I am. Okay, so the only Marvel movie that I didn't see in the theaters, actually, I didn't see Iron Man 3 in the theaters, but that was because I had a kid at the time and he was too young. I didn't go see it. But everything else I got to see in the theaters.
Like you saw Thor: The Dark World in theaters?
Yes, and my son fell asleep during it.
You're sick.
And I was kind of pissed.
I'm kidding. I've seen pretty much all of them in the theater.
Right. But I did not go to see the Eternals in theaters. And it was because of, the pandemic, obviously. And I knew that I could have gone to see it in the theaters. But based on reviews, based on your review and other people's reviews, I was like, I can hold off. And I did hold off for a long time. And then I was still pissed when I did see it I did not enjoy it. And I was like, God damn it. This movie could have been good, but it was not good,
Yeah.
So I don't think the Marvels is going to be as bad as the Eternals in that way. I'm hoping, I am keeping hope alive. But we'll see,
Right.
Probably not going to see it first day out. So I will see what the word of mouth is, and then I'll go, I loved Monica Rambeau in WandaVision. I would love to see her.
I love her. Yeah, I love
movie.
her, but the problem is it's an ensemble cast, right? And so,
right. I mean, I want to know more about her and her mother, right? That's a really interesting story waiting to be told.
Right.
Is like, what happened to her mom? Why does Monica Rambeau hate Captain Marvel now?
And the whole thing that I'm pretty sure that the energized being attacking Wanda in the lobby of the Illuminati in the Doctor Strange 2 trailer, I am pretty sure that's Maria Rambeau with the powers of Captain Marvel.
That's pretty cool.
I think that to me so far has been the most solid analysis. First, people thought it was the Human Torch. Other people said they think it's Iron Man, and I'm like, his costume has never put out energy like that. I think it's Maria Rambeau.
Yeah.
So we'll see alternate dimension her is what I'm saying.
Right.
There's so much in the Marvel universe I really want to see. Monica Rambeau is absolutely one of them. There's just a bunch of characters. There's so much to explore, damn it. Why did they ruin Hawkeye?
Yeah.
F you guys. F you Marvel.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm your shell. No, I'm not a shell. I'll call it and I gotta tell you, Eternals, I saw Eternals, a morning show.
Mm-hmm.
I walked out of it, got a call from my job, was laid off that very day. So not only did I see a horrible movie of Eternals, I had to be laid off immediately after.
Eternals ruined your life.
Yes, Eternals ruined my life. So thanks a lot. When's this check? Chloe Zhao?
Zhao. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, you. I'm kidding. I'm sorry, we're taking this bit a little too far. But do you have any final thoughts on Miss Marvel? What you think you're going to see, and possibly the Marvels?
So I do think that it's going to be a bit young for skewing for me. So I grew up, as a woman, as a young girl, always loved comics, wanted to see more kick-ass females, kicking ass, taking names in comics and in television, and movies. So I was always really excited to see women on the big screen, women in comics. But as I've gotten older, I want quality female-led movies, and shows and and comic books. So I hope it's quality. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not just, excited now anymore just because it's a woman in it. I've become more discerning over the years.
Right, and so there's a person that I like to call YouTuber X because I don't want to insult them or generate bullying points. And there are women and they repped this trailer so hard, and I feel it was just because they were defending the woman-on-woman sisterhood. Like, she was literally like, people are comparing it to Green Lantern. These powers are nothing like Green Lanterns. And literally said, I think you people need to stop saying that they're like Green Lantern. Literally tried to order people on the internet to stop doing that.
Which is silly.
This person said, this thing looks amazing. And literally said the phrase at the end of the first time they saw it is, who wouldn't like that? And so I absolutely feel it's insincere. However, I do kind of respect it. she's looking out for other females, right? And I respect that.
Right.
That concept.
I mean, it's very YouTuber X. First of all, we always have to take into account that she's kind of an insider, especially with Marvel, because she used to work for Marvel.
Yes.
So I do think that she's very heavily influenced by her personal opinions on stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very possible that these are her friends that she's repping for. And I gotta say, I want good things for Iman Vellani, who's playing Kamala Khan. She seems like a nice girl. She's, this Canadian Pakistani girl who used to, people found her Marvel, not fan fiction, but she had theories that she had written online about Marvel, movies.
And you know the app Letterboxd, right?
Yeah, I've heard about that.
They found hers right after she was cast, and they looked at it. And it's so funny. This went around Twitter that they pointed out that on hers, she had given the original Captain Marvel a C. Because with that app, you rate movies, and then you can make lists of movies, like what are your top 10 movies, top 10 crime movies, blah blah blah, and you can constantly rate them. She rated the original. She didn't even like the first Captain Marvel. So I say God bless the girl for that.
Yeah, she just was being honest. She's
cool.
She's true and honest fan.
Right, she's not some shell just because she's up for a job. So, I do hope she does do things. I do hope she breaks out of this kitty thing. Who knows? Maybe she'll get some rancid, slutty role later on in life.
Oh, God. I'm just hoping that it's decent.
Every actor who gets typecast as a nice person prays to get a role as like a heroin addict at some point.
Oh, God.
Just so they can break out of the nice guy thing,
Yeah.
I'm serious.
I mean, I think Tom Holland has been trying to do that sort of thing,
he
too.
actually, absolutely. Did you see Cherry?
I did not. I heard about it.
Where he's a drug addict and a bank robber. And it's as opposite of him as possible. And it did not sell. I didn't care for the movie in general. And he also did the, The Devil All the Time.
Right.
Did you see that?
No.
What are you doing? You can't call yourself
was that
a Tom.
good? I don't know. Was that good? It was
That's
on
a
Netflix,
very good. I love that movie.
Okay.
He doesn't remind me of Peter Parker.
Right.
But he doesn't. He's unable to escape Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like.
Yeah. Well, the thing is he's a fresh-faced kid. That's what he looks like. I mean, yes, he's in his mid-20s now, but when I look at him, I see a teenager. So it's hard.
Yeah.
You got somebody like Timothy Chalamet, who, or as I like to call him, Timothée Chalamet. He is a young-looking guy,
The next
but
Tom Cruise,
he's got a very like a chameleon type face, where he isn't necessarily typecast as this, nice kid,
Yeah.
He can look evil, is what I'm trying to say about Chalamet.
Yeah.
I don't think Tom Holland can look evil.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I feel you, man. Maybe he needs to take a role as like a serial killer or something. He could play like Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit.
I'm sure he would do it. He's desperate to break out and not be typecast.
And he doesn't age either. It's so weird. He looks like a day hasn't gone by since he was cast as Spider-Boy.
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. But I think that's all the time we have for tonight for Rogue Planet. Gray Winthrop of the Grim Inquiries True Crime Podcast. Do you have any shout-outs or any... do you have any last-minute thoughts? But other than that, do you have any shout-outs or plugs you want to do?
Thoughts? I just hope Miss Marvel and the Marvels are good. But I'm really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness. That better be good, because I am hyped for it, and it better be good. That's my final thought.
So good. Actually, as soon as we get off this, I'm going to watch that trailer 5 more times.
Yeah, and as far as plugs, I'm no longer doing the Grim Inquirers podcast, but you can look for me as Gray Winthrop. Just that's no spaces, just Gray Winthrop, one word, on Twitch. I will be streaming in the near future, probably weekend mornings, but I might surprise you at other times.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing drawing and commentary.
Oh, that's awesome. That's absolutely. I really loved your show. It sucks I'm not going to be getting any more true crime from you. Well, it's like I'm going to have to be watching Netflix now or something. Like, yo, did you watch this one, Worst Roommate Ever?
I haven't heard about this. What's that?
You don't. Oh my God. So this is that story of that old woman, that sweet old woman, who she would take in either like basically the homeless or like mentally handicapped people, and the government would like pay their rent for them, and she would kill them and keep cashing the checks and bury them out in the backyard. Because there was a program, I think this is like I want to say Seattle, maybe I'm getting the wrong place. But there was a program where the government, to get people off the streets, they'd find boarding houses and they'd put them in there, the homeless people. And they're like, the government's like, we'll pay their rent as long as they can live there. And so she was killing these people. And she was a little old woman. So if you ever want to go back to true crime.
Those little old ladies.
No, I don't trust any old people, man. I don't ever turn my back on an old person.
But yeah, it sounds interesting. I'll check it out.
I will definitely check you out on Twitch, guys. That is Gray Winthrop, and this is The Fat Mantis HD signing off for Rogue Planet. That's right, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm live here on Spotify Green Room for audio and on Twitch if you're looking for a visual delight. If you want to see my precious face, please check it in. And of course, you can always catch the replay on YouTube. That's my YouTube channel, Voice of the Fat Mantis. I hope to see you guys next week. Oh, that's right, Gray and everybody in chat. Yo, happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope you have a very Irish week. Until next week, ciao for now, my bitches.
Anime. Comics.